Hello world, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl C of Cycling Crochet. Guys, today's tutorial we are going to need a 3.0 mm hook, and you take a yarn which is also cool for a 3.0 mm, okay, or less. You can just this work well with the thin yarn, okay, so just get your thin yarn plus your hook, and at least 3.0 is okay. So first of all, you make your chain, and your chain depends on your waist, okay, so you chain according to your waist. You put it around your waist to find out if it's okay for you, then you're good to go. Okay, so you make a single crochet to fix the ends together. So next of all, I'm going to make a double crochet in each of the stitch rows that I have. Okay, so double crochets in each till I get to where I started from. Okay, so this week we are starting from the waist up, then we'll come back from the waist down again. Okay, so after double crochet for the first row, I make another double crochet for the next row. Okay, so that my band will be at least a little bit bigger. Okay, so this is the second row. After finishing the second row, this is what we have. Then the next of all, I'm going to create my meshes. Okay, so before we continue, let's just put our stitch marker over here, then we'll do our meshes. So this part will come to your side like this, then yeah, like this. Then you put another stitch marker at the other side, okay, of your work like this. Okay, so we are just going to make the meshes on one side of our work. Okay, so just like a regular meshes, this time I'm chaining 5. I'm skipping 3. In the 4th, I'm going to make my single crochet. Okay, so this is the first one. So I've chained 7, then I've skipped 3. In the 4th stitch row, I'll make a single crochet, chain 7, skip 3. In the 4th, make a single crochet. So what I'm doing is chaining 7, skipping 3, and making a single crochet into the 4th stitch row. Okay, for the number of chains that you chain, it depends on you how wide you want your meshes to look like. Okay, so for me, with the 3.0, with my yarn, this type of yarn that I'm using, chaining that, so I'm going to make it till I get to my next stitch marker. Okay, so this is, then you chain 1 and you turn your work like this. Then I'm going to make my meshes at the sides again. So I chain 7, into the mesh row I make a single crochet. I chain 7, into the next mesh row I make a single crochet. Okay, so chaining of 7, and in the mesh row you make your, so you are going to go back and forth like that. So when you get your chain 1 and you turn your work, then you go like that till it is long enough for you. Okay, so I'm making the meshes of 7 rows of the meshes, okay, of the same color. You can use the same color, you can also alternate between the colors depending on your colors. Okay, so I'm making for so after 7 rows, this is what I have. You can also continue to make 10 rows of this, and yeah. Okay, so the next of all, I chain 1 and turn my work. Then I'm going to work in the meshes that I have. Okay, so remember that we chained 7, so I'm going to make double crochets of 7. Okay, Next of all, make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, so I'm making 8 double crochets into each of the meshes that I have. Okay, so if you chained 5, you have to make double crochets of 5 into the mesh holes that you have. Okay, so it's just like we are just converting back to the previous double crochets that we have. Okay, and of course it will look like it is swaddling, but that is how we want it. Okay, so you chain 1 and turn your work like this. Then I'm going to make another double crochets. Okay, into each of the mesh holes that I have until I get to the end of my work. Yeah, so this is it. So let's do it. Okay, so when you get to the end of your work, you just skip the last stitch that you have, then you chain 1 and turn your work. Okay, so the idea here is we are going to create a halter top, so we are going to skip the first stitch row and the last stitch row, but before that, let's find out the middle part of our work. So you can fold it into 2 and put your stitch marker so that you get the middle parts of your work like this. Okay, I'll show you how you are going to use that one for. So when you do your double crochets and you get to where your stitch marker is, you are going to leave that one out. So let's do our double crochet. So with the double crochet, you skip the first stitch hole, and in the next stitch hole you make your double crochet. Okay, so you're going to make double crochets until we get to the stitch hole before our stitch marker. Okay, so double crochets, double crochets, double crochets, double crochets. Until you get to our stitch marker. Remember to always keep the first stitch hole and the last stitch hole anytime you are doing your double crochets for halter top. Okay, so I make double crochets, double crochets. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, turn on your bell, give me a like, comment below, and turn on your notification as well. Alright, so we are on the stitch hole before where our stitch marker is. So we are going to have many kind of so you chain 1, then you skip where our stitch marker is, then you make a double crochet. So we kind of make a mesh hole, a small mesh hole, by chaining 1. Okay, so where the stitch marker is, you are not going to have your double crochet. So at the end, this is all you have. Okay, and we skip the last stitch hole. Okay, so you chain 1 and you turn your work, then you skip the first stitch hole again, then you make your double crochets. When we get to the last stitch hole too, you are going to skip that last stitch hole, but let's also make the double crochets till we get to, yes, where our stitch marker is. Now with the stitch hole before this one, you are going to chain 1, then into that mesh that we created previously, you make a double crochet of 4. So you chain, okay, then you make a double crochet of 4. So 2 first, then you chain 1, then you make additional 2, making 4 double crochets into that same mesh where the stitch marker is. You chain 1 and you skip the next stitch row. Okay, then you make your double crochets. So you've kind of created a mesh, a shell, and we've separated it with mesh row. So you get to the last but 1 stitch row, then you go round again. So on the next row, when you get to where your stitch marker is, before that mesh, the previous, you chain, then you make your double crochets 4 times into the previous shell that you created. Okay, so 2 double, then you chain 2, then you skip the first skip the first mesh, then you do your double crochet just like I've done. Okay, you keep on making your double crochet. Okay, so you see that you have created some mini meshes somewhere. So on the next row, the 2 stitch holes before that, you chain 2, then inside that previous mesh that you created, you make 4 double crochets. Okay, like this. Then you chain, you make a double crochet into the next mesh hole that you created. Okay, so always make sure that your 4 double crochets are being separated with a chain. Okay, so this is what I have. Then you keep on again. Then when you come to the next stage, the 2 stitch hole before that, you chain 2, then right here on the shell that you have, you create your 4 double crochets. Okay, so you chain 1, then you add the additional 2 double crochets to it, making it 4. Okay, so that's a shell. Then the next one, you do it onto the previous shell that you created. Okay, so this one too will take another shell on it like this. Then you chain 2. Okay, you skip the first 2 stitch holes, then you make your double crochet into the 3rd one like this. Okay, then you continue with your double crochets, and always remember the side of your work we are reducing. Okay, so you always skip the first and the last stitch hole at the edges. Okay, so next of all, when you get to the 2 stitch holes before that, you chain 2, then right on top of the previous shell that you created, you make another shell. Okay, so double crochets of 4, you chain 1, then you make a double crochet again 2. Okay, so shell, that's 4. Then